Before I even introduce myself, though I do know a lot of you in this room, we're going to play a game because we do a lot of games in this process. Frankly, in order for us to stay sane and to try to smile and have fun in this process, for those of you who have worked with me before, we do try to make this stressful process, because it is, regardless of what we do, a little bit less stressful by trying to have a little bit of fun. So we're playing the mascot game, and if you did what your students all did yesterday, this is kind of cool that we were separating parents from students in the era of COVID, because I had a lot of fun with them yesterday, and we'll see if you are as fun as your children. I have a feeling the answer might be no. But we had H block together. Right, right, exactly. That's so true. H block together yesterday. I had the whole junior class in here, and teachers kept popping in being like, there's way too much fun happening in here. We had lifesavers flying all through the room and people up and down. So we're going to try to do a little bit of the same tonight. And now, if you've already tried to write down all these mascots, that's not the real game. So you don't win by knowing all of these. So I'm just going to quickly flash these for you. Now, quickly meaning like a couple seconds. And your job in your note card, thanks to Trish, I think everybody has a note card. So you can pair up if you're here with a friend or a family member, aunt, uncle, cousin, brother. You're a pair. If you're here by yourself, good luck. And your job is to not use your phone. So just like I did with the students yesterday, please put your phones away for the meeting, because we're not cheating. And there will be a prize at the end. So, and you already see the first one because you're all cheating. So you're just going to write down on your note card. Don't say it out loud what school this belongs to. Okay, now I'm on to the second one. Oh, geez, I can see where everybody is in this. If you know your school, or if it's your school or it's not your school, you can't say it out loud. Oh, slow it down? Slow it down. Okay, this one's harder. This one's harder. This is for our extra bright parents in the room. Okay? Here we are. This one's an easy giveaway, everybody. Easy giveaway. Back row. Oh, wow. So your students can all see still. Get your glasses out. Get your glasses out. Okay. Here's another. Oh, I heard that word over there. So these are all representing places where some of our alums are going to school or have been admitted. I shouldn't say necessarily going to school. Okay, that gave it away. But you have to actually know what it's called, not just the name of the school. Well, like this one, it's giving away the school, so you got to know what the thing is. Okay, we're almost done. We're almost done. I'm giving you some easy and some very difficult ones. Lots of people are squinting. What does this say about our age?
You need super lunch.
I know, I think I'm sensing the aging group here. Okay, this one is really difficult. Okay. Is there anybody in the room who thinks they know all of them? I think there are 8 total. John does? All right. So John, I'm going to have you stand up. Who else thinks they have maybe like 75 to 85% or more? All right. You're already standing up back there. All right. We've got the Mednicks against the Chapmans. Is what this is going to be. Anybody else? Oh, you're up? You're up. Wait, who do you belong to? Oh, Campbell! I love Campbell. I haven't met you yet. Okay. All right. So John's going to get first dibs because he thinks he knows all. If he misses, we go back here to the corner and then back to Campbell's mom if needed. But we also have other things we have to do, so we're going to be fast. Go ahead. Megan. Yeah, Megan's mom. Yes. I still mean I love her. Yes. Okay. Clemson Tigers. Nittany Lions. Oh my gosh. Okay. Slow down. William and Mary Tribe. Did you get it? Oh, yeah. Navy goat. Everybody's got that. We live here, people. Okay. Oh, yeah, he got it? You got it. Tufts it is. Tufts it is. Tar Heels, that was easy. That's easy for sports-minded people. Just so you know, Megan won. Michigan Wolverines. Reed did not. Woo! He wins. Okay. What? Oh, the last one is the Bates Bobcats. And if you just came into the meeting, I said this at the first meeting, so I am triple vaccinated, and I am without a mask because I could never get through this meeting if I masked. And we're also recording because we have a lot of families who couldn't attend. Some people started Thanksgiving early. So if you're not comfortable or you don't want to be sitting near me, feel free to move away from me, and I'll try to stay away. But this is a whole move around kind of meeting. All right, so John gets to pick. So if you don't, how many of you have had students go through this process with me here before? Okay, so you know that lifesavers are our lifeblood. It's very cheesy, but the students start getting lifesavers in 9th grade in their it's not called Changing Lives, community seminar, and they even want to go visit them at college when they graduate. They love getting lifesavers. So you can start early, you get your lifesaver, or I just got from Syracuse sunglasses. So you get to pick. So very important, lifesavers, of course. Don't worry, someone else will get the trendy sunglasses. But important to note that while it is kind of cheesy, the lifesaver analogy, if we have not met before, I'm Laura. I have the privilege of being your child's college advisor. I see and know many of your students every day. Some of them I've known since middle school when I coached some of them in cross country. And now we're becoming officially very close friends because they are going to spend a lot of time with me. So will you, but they'll spend a lot more time with me between now and the time they graduate. And while the lifesaver analogy is quite cheesy, it works because there are many moments. Have you had any of the moments yet where you feel like, I'm not sure we're on the same page. I'm not sure they're listening to my suggestions or what I think we should be doing in this process. Everybody should probably have their hand up. And if you're not, and if you have not had that feeling yet, it's coming. So the lifesaver is really just kind of that process of, and many people come in for lifesavers for good reasons and sad reasons and every reason in between, because that is going to be a roller coaster of a process, right? It's an evolution for your child as they grow up. And I should have brought a box of Kleenex because inevitably in this meeting, someone always cries when I say, our job is to get them to fly out of the nest and fly, right? And not fall. And they are going to leave your nest. And I know that's difficult to hear. I'm actually one step behind you. My daughter is a sophomore. And I think for the first time, I'm starting to feel that same pit in my stomach. This is going to happen, right? But our job is to work together in as friendly of a capacity as we possibly can. There will be moments that we're frustrated, frankly, with each other, or with your child, or with the process, or what doesn't seem fair or right or equitable. And that is the business of the college admission process, right? For good, bad, or ugly, that is kind of how it unfolds. But hopefully working with me in this process, and also their teachers at Key, their friends, and frankly, their older alums, the seniors even, they all kind of rally around and help each other out, right? That's kind of the benefit of being here. So that is my little introduction to that. So we will play a few games. We are going to get up and move around a little bit, frankly, because we've been sitting for a while. Also because this is a process that I want you to think about your role in this. And some of you may have already had me doing this. And it's my job to kind of reframe when you ask me something about our process. My job will normally be to say, for parents who've worked with me before, whose process? Yeah, it's the student-driven process, right? It's very key-centric. It's like everything we do here revolves around that student-driven piece, right? So if you've worked with me before, you know that while I will respond back to you, I almost always include that student, unless you're asking me something completely confidential, to say that this journey, that we're all on together is really theirs, right? Many of us had the opportunity to go to college. Every time I go to a college, last week I was at Bucknell, and on the way back I was like, how could I live up there? How could I go to school there? We all will see these colleges together. Some of you will be on road trips together. Some of you may have already done that. And you're going to say, ooh, I really like this school. But you have to think of it like Do you like it for you, or do you like it for your child, right? So we're going to try to frame all of our discussions in that mode of what is best for what they're looking for and what their fit might be, right? You're going to hear that word. There's lots of phrases I use over and over again, but it's that fit that's so important. So just before we get going on the next round of things, stand up if this is your very first time going through the college process. If this is your first kid, the eldest kid, and you're going through this process. Oh, wow, we have a lot of first timers in this group. Okay. You can sit down now that I kind of have a little bit of you. So stand up if this is your second child going through the process. Second, okay, congratulations. You've made it through at least once, right? And you're still here. Yeah. All right, stand up if you've had more than 2 kids. I'm on 2, right? More than 2. So you've got 2 or more that have done this. There's the Nolan clan. Okay. Anybody more than that? Yes? Okay, keep standing, keep standing. All right, so we were at 3, right? 3, 4. You're 4, you're 5. Okay, well then you get the sunglasses. You are the fine winner of the sunglasses. Wear them well. When I met with our Syracuse person, where are the Posics? Are they in here? Holy tamale, they gave me like a bag of stuff. It was awesome. And when I went to visit Syracuse, this is gonna happen a lot. I get off on like the squirrel tangent, but I promise they're worth it. I saw, actually Noah was home whenever I was up there, but I saw like 5 Key School students at Syracuse in the spring. And I like sauntered into the admissions office. It was kind of a not very nice day. It was my first visit, like in the middle of COVID. So the first time I'd been to a college in 16 months, I think. I walk in the admissions office and I was like, hi, I'm Laura from the Key School. And she goes, hi, I'm Francie from the Key School. And I was like, the front desk person in the admissions office at Syracuse is a Key School alum. Isn't that awesome? So I was like, wow, how fun is that? So they're everywhere. Our small school is in many places. Okay, so who knows how many accredited colleges or around there are in the United States? Throw out a number.
500.
Wait, 2,500? I heard a 4,000 over here. Who do you belong to? Who? Okay, awesome. I'm sorry for saying it like that. Who is your child? Who do you belong to? Lifesaver. Not the whole jar. I have to save some for tonight. Yeah, so there are about 4,000 accredited schools in this country, which means everybody in this room with their child is going to find 7 to 9 eventually that a student will apply to. Maybe have 15 or 20 on their think about list, which we'll talk about as we go. But there's a school out there for every single person, and many schools actually. So there's not just one. When someone says, I have to go to this place, our job is to kind of keep shopping and saying, there's lots out there that's going to fit, right? So of those 4,000 or so that are accredited. And I just gave the answer away, but who was listening? So when you get to the application list, we'll skip the middle because I think I gave that away the most. How many are you going to aim your child? I keep thinking of this because the students should be here. We are not applying. How many will your child apply to, the magic number? Ooh. Oh, okay, now ready? This is what we do when everybody's here. So here it comes, because I heard a lot of good answers. It might hit somebody, it may not, I'm sorry, but yes, 7 to 9 is kind of the sweet spot. And we'll talk more about kind of what that means as we go throughout that process. Okay, so the juniors did this yesterday, your children. Normally, if we were on Zoom, I still left it in there in case that had to happen for them or for you. This is my favorite word in the universe. And Andrew, the Nolan family, knows this word from swimming. You're all going to say this for the rest of your lives. But my daughter Lily is a big swimmer. And every time she gets up on the blocks to go swimming, she says, I'm nerve-sighted. She's nervous, but excited at the same time. And it is so indicative of the college process. You're going to be nervous. They're going to be nervous. I'm going to be nervous for them. Like one of my students just applied to a school the other day, and I literally, I got all teary and emotional because of the process that child had been through. It's nerve-wracking, but it's so exciting at the same time, right? So that's how we're going to feel. So you have your cards in front of you. And one of you, again, if you're paired up, great. Not everybody has to respond to this question. But the next question, which is kind of more or less the same, is how are you feeling right now, today, in this moment of just talking about the SATs and the ACTs for a whole hour? But honestly, like while that is an hour and this is an hour of everything, that is not that ratio we will be moving forward. It's awesome to hear Phil is a great partner. Tonight's meeting is kind of this overarching umbrella. It's almost like we should start here and then go to that conversation, but I wanted to get him home. So maybe think about how you are like right now, not thinking about your child's SAT or ACT future score, but how are you feeling about this process? And we're not going to answer that just yet because I don't know how I'm doing on time. And then as you write, you're going to hand them in to me later because I'm going to collect them. You don't have to put your name, but I keep them because I give them, like you'll see, you'll get them back at some point in this process. So just kind of popcorn around who's feeling what right now. How are we feeling? Tired? Is anybody tired? It's Thursday night. I'm tired. Okay, you're not all going to speak at once. Yes.
I'm excited.
Excited. Good.
I have a senior who just applied, so.
So you're good. You're golden.
It's exciting.
It's exciting. Anxious? Yeah, anxious is definitely legitimate. I should be giving you candy for that. What's that?
Lost.
Lost? Okay. Hopefully you won't feel lost for long. This is the start of a road, a path that we're going to be on.
Freak excited.
You're what?
Freaking out.
Freaking excited. Oh, that's my new favorite word. I'm freak excited. That's good. That's good. That's totally understandable. Any others? So yesterday, my favorite word, well, I had two, but the one that like took the prize for me was neutral. I'm feeling very neutral about things right now. And I was like, okay, that's actually, maybe that's not a bad thing, because my job right now for your students, just so you know, is to not have them worry about what this looks like yet for them, right? So this represents where our students, our seniors last year went. Many of your students know many of these students. And in January, you'll hear from some of our current freshmen in college and some of our current seniors. And their job in January is to kind of take a step back, right? And take a step back and say, you're going to get here, but we have all kinds of steps we take between now and then so that you don't have the freak-sighted is like a good freak-sighted, not a bad freak-sighted. And these slides I'll send to you afterwards, but feel free to take pictures because it makes me feel like you're paying attention. I love that. I don't know if the May 1st picture for the current senior class will look like this, but this is last year's. Yesterday we got excited because this is a big day, May 1st, as some of you know, when everybody reveals where they're going to college. Now, of course, we're small, so everybody knows beforehand, but we still pretend. And I also want you to know that my job is called college advisor, but if your child is thinking about a gap year or thinking about the military, or someone yesterday was like, well, how about, I've got a cool idea, how about if I'm just an entrepreneur? And I was like, I haven't had that yet, but awesome. Or whatever it may be, right? Community college from here, that's still considered going to college. So the college advisor plus gap year plus military plus entrepreneurship advisor. But remember that like when we sit down and have our individual conversations, each of you with your child will talk about what those things might be on their plate, right? Because there might be multiple things that they're thinking about, which is fantastic. Okay, am I moving too fast? I was moving too fast with the, okay. We're not doing this because this is for the juniors, but I left that in there. Oh, okay, so nobody yesterday, not one junior knew the movie, so here's our age. She did not say. Oh, wait, she did. She knew it. She was the one who, after a couple minutes, like a 30-second pause, was like, Animal House. Anyway, how familiar are you with this process beyond Animal House? And I asked that question when I had you stand up and down, but I want us to rely on each other. So one of the things that I like in this community at Key is that there isn't one person who has all the answers, right? So lean on each other for the parents. So raise your hand again, especially if you're 5 kids into this process. If you've done this more than one time, just raise your hand. Go ahead, you don't have to stand up again. And everybody who's on the first round, just look around and you have a friend in more than just me. But I will say this, I'm gonna just put this little caveat in there, that everything we know, meaning because we're the same generation, that's happening to me, but your kids don't think I'm that old, so don't tell them that. They think of me more as their aunt. And that's actually a good role, right? That we and our process, and Phil alluded to this earlier, it is dramatically different. And if you went to college, whenever, however long ago that was, 20-ish years ago or more, it is very different. So while you're going to give advice to each other as parents, if you've been through this, it's your immediate process with your child who's like a couple years into the college process, or maybe just graduated not long ago. Because what we know and remember from admission is like out the window, okay? So that's just a good like reminder in this. Okay, we're gonna play, no. Are we gonna play my game yet? You know what, we are, because we need a little break. I'm not gonna read this slide to you, it's just there for you to look at, but I do need a couple people to stand up here real quick. And if you don't volunteer, it's the kind of place where we call on you. So come on up, you're just holding something, and you're gonna stand up here, and I won't stand too close to you, but you're gonna stand, you don't have to say anything, you just have to hold a sign. So come on up, don't all jump at one time. Good, I knew Will's mom would be up here for me. She supports me. Okay. And yes, I should make them bigger, Bridget. I know this already. I need two more. I need two more. Who's two more? Okay, yeah.
One time.
One time, yes. You're here with robotics. You're so comfortable here. All right, come on, Jared. You got to stand up too. Okay, he's getting called out. All righty, so I'll stand over here. So what these, and I will make bigger signs, I promise, since we're getting, it's funny because I write them for students and they're totally fine. So there are the 6 Ps, and I'm going to trademark it, I think. These are what we will talk about when we sit down for our first family meeting together. And I am lying. You have to read it out loud. So just start down the line and say it really loudly.
Purpose.
Personal fit.
Price.
People.
Place.
Program.
Yes. So yesterday, we actually walked through each of these 6 scenarios so that the students could start to think about how will I answer that question when Laura asked me to write this in a response on a Google form, and I sit down with my parents, and in front of them I have to be able to answer these kind of questions. So I'm giving them a head for them to think about, but you should have conversations as well, maybe over dinner, maybe if you're driving around somewhere together. But just these are the main criteria of the things I want you to think about as we develop a list together. So some of you may already have 15 schools on a list with your child, or maybe they already do. And if you don't, that's perfectly fine. You are not behind, and you actually don't even need to have that just yet. But everything we do to get to that list is going to have these things in mind, right? What's so funny? Oh, they're taking pictures? Awesome. So the most important part for me is that personal fit. So all 5 of the other things we should probably have, like, yeah, you're most important. Is making sure that all those things are met, right? So if you come to me and you say as a parent, price-wise, I want to make sure that my student is not going to go into debt after their 4 years of college, and I actually want them to come home every once in a while, so I don't really want them to be across the country. But then they say to me, place-wise, hey, I'm going to California, and I can't wait, and I'm going to go to a school that's $75,000 a year, and I'm going to take $10,000 worth of loans out, and you say the opposite. We have to somewhere meet in the middle, right? And so I don't really want to mediate in that meeting. And so it's good for you to have these conversations. I'm not a lawyer. To have those conversations before you sit down with me. So when we get to this point, we can say, because I don't really, we don't really talk about the price of a school in that meeting. We're really more about like that personal fit and what kind of people do you want to be around, or how many of them, or where do you want to live? What kind of program? Like kids yesterday are like, program? I have no idea. And that's fine, right? Part of what they're going to do before we meet is go through an assessment to figure out, well, what kind of programs am I best suited towards if I don't even know yet if I'm a STEM person, a humanities person, or I'm both, right? Or arts, or whatever it might be. So anyway, keep these words in mind because we'll keep coming back to them. And thank you for participating. You can put that anywhere you want. Oh, and you should take a lifesaver if you need it. Yes, good job. Good job, everybody. You did that very well. I'm not going to really go through this timeline because I'm hoping while I was rambling at you, you saw what was behind me and these lovely volunteers. But these are the things that are happening for the juniors. Yeah.
Would you address bullet number 1, please? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So they know the answer to this already if your child told you about the meeting yesterday, which nobody did.
I wasn't there, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully we can hook up.
Hopefully, well, I recorded their meeting, but on my phone, so I don't know what happened to that. So in the fall, we were going to visit. So every fall I try, although last year was COVID, this year was COVID. We would normally go on a bus and take a 2 one-day trips to local schools. And right now, universities don't want large numbers of people coming to their school, and they definitely don't want juniors because they're prioritizing, as they should, a person who's going through the process right now. So we were not able to physically go visit 2 schools together, but we are in January. It may be December, but probably January, which is what we did last year. We visited 3 schools on Zoom One hosted by a college admission person and 2 hosted by alums. And the alums were better, the kids liked that better. And they actually took us on a tour of campus with their phone. So it was actually awesome. They took us through their room. They took us to their favorite place to study. They took us, this one school was out on, like, had water nearby, so we got to see where they go and hang out with their friends. And so we weren't physically walking around a school together, but they got to meet and talk to some of our alums who were at schools. And we try to represent big state school, small private school, something in the middle, just to give our juniors kind of that wide swath of what they can be thinking about. So part of what I've been doing with them in grade meetings is talking about the difference between liberal arts schools and Research 1 schools and public universities, art schools, HBCUs, women's colleges, men's colleges, all the community colleges, all the different types of choices they have, so that when we start to talk about a list, they actually have some reference point to say, oh yeah, I belong more to this than this, right? Or I kind of like all of them, so I'm going to look at a bunch of them right now. So yeah, so I hope that answers your, so I don't know, we may in the spring get to see a couple schools live, but I'm hesitant about that because we're juniors. And they're really, like, I've already been told by the 100 and some schools that came this fall that their spring is prioritizing getting their class in the door. So your choice, you may get in to do some tours one-on-one, like with a family, but we're not going to probably barrel in there with 55 kids, is my guess, physically. Yeah.
Do you look at international schools outside the country?
Yeah, not like we don't go visit them together.
I mean,
I could do that if somebody gave me the money for that.
but do you provide information, or is that something?
Oh yeah, yeah, and in SCORE, yeah, well,
With an interest themselves, or
yeah.
do you say, oh, these are some good.
Yeah, we've had students go, I mean, in the last few years, students go to Scotland, to St. Andrews, UBC, in British Columbia, been accepted to lots of schools in the, I'm trying to think, like probably maybe 10 or 15 kids total in the last 5 years have applied to more than one school overseas. But yeah, we'll talk, that'll be part of what we'll talk about in your individual meetings. Okay, so yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay.
I thought Susan's first bullet point question was actually about the cards. I got all excited thinking someone else had the same question as me.
Oh,
It was not.
yeah.
What do you mean by purpose?
Oh, purpose, yeah. So is the purpose of a school a liberal arts education? Is it an HBCU? Is it an R1 university? Is it a public school? So the purpose of a school is like, what is not just the mission of that school, but like what is it inherently founded to do? Yeah. And some schools fill multiple roles, right? So they're not just a liberal arts school or just an R1 school. So that's something that your student will the students will think about. Yeah. And we'll get back into those P's. Like, so just so you know, this is like the commercial tonight of all the stuff that we're going to be doing in the next series of, I can't remember, I think it's like 8 or 10 times we do this between now and the time they graduate. So I am trying to kind of quickly go through stuff because we can't dive too far in, because I think you probably all do want to get out of here at 8 o'clock. And I have to pick up a kid at swimming at some point. And so my job tonight, like just so you know, is to kind of just skim the surface. Really, so it's the commercial because we don't usually start this process until January. We started a little bit earlier at Key. All of our peer schools and Ames have their meeting in January. And I was on a call today for a committee I'm on. And I said, I made the mistake of telling them I had a meeting tonight. And they all yelled at me. It's November and we're tired. Our seniors still need us. But I do feel like for our community, because I have 2 meetings, so most high schools, if they have a college advisory, you have 1 family meeting. And I do 2 really because I need to have a little bit of time with your student one-on-one after you guys are gone. And that gives them a little time to kind of sift through the stuff we do in the first meeting, make some calculated decisions and think more about who they are. And that second meeting is really much more about who that student is. And so in order to do that, we back it up to this point. So in some ways, if I can't get into all the questions that I'm sure you have tonight, because tonight is just like, let's get it going and then we'll dig into it later. Does that make sense? But if you have a really good one, feel free to raise your hand. Okay, so I would love for someone, so this, when I send you these slides, you're gonna click on this, and it's actually, but not right now, on your phones. It's on the Key School website, and it's advice from the class of 2021. Every year in the spring, it's one of my favorite things I get to do, which is to sit down with a group of seniors and just ask them about everything that they thought of both their Key School experience, how long they've been here, and then how they made it to where they're going. And it's sound, solid advice, and it's always a little bit different. But someone could read Jacqueline's advice because it's really great. Who would like to read that? Sean, I can tell you're anxious to read.
Look at the school holistically, not just the name. Try to compare your school to the, try not to compare your school to the school of your classmates, because each of you are different with unique talents and goals.
Yeah, so that is kind of like the core of our philosophy. It's hard to do in a place like this. My seniors have been super amazing about this fall. Some are in this like tight cluster of friends and all their friends know what they're doing, but not everybody. We really do try to say, please don't compare your school being better or the acceptance rate is lower and I'm gonna get into that place because I'm so-and-so. We don't do that here, right? That's definitely not our vibe, and we definitely don't wanna promote that in the admission process. So we also ask parents to say, you know what, like it's not really all that important, like who's looking at what school or this school or that school right now. It's like, hey, are you looking, so back to purpose, are you looking at liberal arts colleges or are you looking at R1? Does anybody even know what R1 is? Come on. Who does? Yeah, research what? Yes, and what does that mean? Oh yeah. Is that Megan's mom again? Oh my gosh, I almost hit you. Yeah, so R1 universities, right. So you might talk in your parties and gatherings and whatever on Facebook or whatever old people do like us, that, hey, my kid's looking at some schools in the southeast, or my kid's looking at some big state schools in the north. But we're careful about that because a lot of times students are just, well, it's a raw process, right? I'll just leave it at that. It's very raw. So we want to protect and take care of each other. Okay, I know it's a little bit long, but it's so worth it. Chandler's at Howard. Would someone just please read how Key has prepared her for college? Yeah, please do. Take it off and read it.
Key has prepared me to be an amazing thinker. I love that Key School has developed my ability to think and reason in a way that allows for experimentation, learning new information, and changing my stance on issues. I feel so ready to learn and engage with others because Key School has planted that curiosity seed. Most of all, I am unafraid to let my intelligence shine in both academic and non-academic settings.
Woo! Is that awesome or what?
Oh, thank you.
So when I kind of just come off my soapbox about talking too much about names of schools, this is exactly what our students talk to each other about. And when I have each of my seniors write something in their application, which you don't even need to worry about what that is yet, but this time next year, your child, will, each of them, will have one of these statements. And they talk about this and they send it in their application to colleges. And I have colleges call me every year and say, wow, that really helped me get a sense of your school. Even better than the profile that we send with our transcript that summarizes who we are as a community and our philosophy of teaching and all the data they want to know. This is the meat of what colleges will say. I get Key School and I get why your student's ready to come and be a success at my college, right? So it should give you goosebumps. I'm warm, so I don't have goosebumps. Okay, so this is also a really important part, and yesterday we kind of got excited about this because I don't think everybody thinks about this, but your child gets to decide 2 of the 3 most important parts of this process: where they're going to go to apply and where they're going to go. The part in the middle is what we all stress about, right? But the ball comes back to their court and they get to decide. Some of our seniors have actually already done that, so they're starting to hear that and sense that and be part of that. So just like that's a good mantra if you're going to drive around together, eat dinner every once in a while, or talk to each other, that this is a great little message. Okay, am I moving too fast? No. You're hanging in there, everybody. It looks like everybody's still awake. Here's my favorite thing of tonight. I have not had a real live meeting with adults in so long. I've been on Zoom for like you have forever, and like normally adults are making dinner and watching Rachel Maddow, which, you know, or whatever you're watching, and everybody's here and paying attention. So it's so good. So this is just, I don't need to go through this again. This is just kind of my philosophy as your child's college advisor. And really just an important thing. I've said many of these things already. One of the things we do almost every time we're together, and we didn't start our meeting this way because we had Phil and I was stressed out about numbers, but we take a deep breath. And we do that almost every time we have a grade meeting together, is we just take a deep breath. Because we're going to get through this process, and it is going to be fun, but I really need all of us to focus on their mental health in this process, which is why we're starting now. You could argue that that would be more stressful because we're starting earlier, but we're trying to do this in bits and pieces so that nobody is feeling rushed and everybody can pace themselves, right? When we get ready to start and talk about the meetings, some of you are going to want them earlier, some of you are going to want them later. We're not going to read all of this because I got to keep moving, but I am going to have you read the top one, So just so you know, I have about 100 or so schools that visit us each year. This year's 50-50 person in Zoom. And they represent each of the schools. We only invite schools to see us where your children are applying to college, just because that makes the most sense, right? And I ask each of them at the end of our meeting, give us a piece of advice. I need the advice, but the seniors need it more than I do. Maybe not. Who wants to read just the top one? University of Chicago, because it's great for all of us as parents. Go ahead.
Set aside one time a week to talk with your parents. It shouldn't be all of the time, given the stress that it can cause both sides. Provide a second point. It's healthy for all. Set yourself up for success with your family.
Isn't that good? And yes, our WISE, University of Chicago, of course the students were like, all right, I like that idea, because when you're a senior sitting in that room talking to those colleges, your parents are really like talking to you every day about your application. How is it? Where is it? What's going on? But this is really nice because that person made them feel better. Oh, okay, so we're gonna get up. Again, a group of people. This might be the last time you have to stand up, but I promise this will be great. You can stretch your legs, and we're gonna have a large group of people stand up. You're just holding the sign. 2 other people are going to read it. So come on up. Don't make it quick because we got a whole bunch of stuff to do. Look at Jared's up and at him again. But you got to go, so you're all the way down there. I'm going to hand them out to you in order. Oh, you're a plus, so I'll keep going because it's going to be a long line. You're next. Come on over here. You're next. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, John, you got to come this way. You can't mess up the system. Uh-oh, hold on. Yeah, you're this, but in between here. Okay, I still need more people. A few more people. Come on up, Jill. I know you want to do this. You have a gimpy arm. Come on, you can hold a plus side. It's fine, it's fine. Come on, Linda, you're next too. I still need help. I still need help. A few more. This is so important. Yeah, she's going to be over here. Oh yeah, there. Yeah, you're coming. Yep. Support is necessary. Here we go. This is good. This is good. No. He's looking at me like, no way. Yeah, what's that? Yeah, come on. Oh no, you got to stand all the way up here. It's like this will not be on the recording because it's too long of a line. Come on, Joe, you're my friend. You are my friend. We've been friends for a long time. All right, so I was going to go to the back of the room. Am I making someone uncomfortable? No. Okay. All right, so now I need, who am I going to ask? All right, Makiba, would you do me a favor? Yes. And Alice, would you do me a favor? Makiba's going to read blue, and Alice is going to read orange. And you're ready. When you're ready, go for it.
Grades,
Class,
rigor,
class,
class choices,
class,
scores,
class,
involvement, what you do with your time,
class,
student criteria,
class,
parent input,
class,
Laura's suggestions,
equals.
list of potential schools.
Woo! All right, give yourself, stay where you are. It's much better for me to be back here and you guys can take over. So the visual of this was not lost on your students yesterday. They didn't have to squint, by the way, either. Again, I heard it loud and clear that I got to get bigger signs. But here's the drill. This is all of the stuff that we are going to be talking about when we get to that final list of potential schools. So I've had a few juniors say, hey, can you give me a list of colleges? And I was like, not until I get all of these things, right? So similar to what Phil was talking about, like the test scores in the application are one piece of an entire puzzle that a college admission counselor is going to look at. The schools you actually apply to are comprised of all these things. We have to come up with a list that's based on all the things that we know about everything here. And I'm not going to get into all those nuances tonight because that's like, you'll come back to the next meeting because you'll want to know more about all these pieces. But I just wanted, like visually, it helps me to help you kind of see all those different pieces. And in order for us to start our meetings, you're going to have a parent input Google form to fill out. Your students will too. And then I'll get their first quarter grades, but really it's the first semester junior grades that I'm going to focus on. Plus then I'll have their PSAT scores in December and their practice ACT scores if they ever take the exams that we gave them if they weren't with us. So all this stuff goes together, right? And that's an important, I mean, we owe it to them, right, as a student applying and investing their time for 4 years somewhere to make sure we look at all these different things collectively, right, to make that list. All right, you can all sit down. And you can throw that stuff wherever you want to. And lifesavers are right behind you.
practice act? If William stops in your office, can he
Yeah,
do that?
yeah.
Because I don't think he did.
Yeah, I don't think he did. Oh, sorry. Oh, good, you got your candy. Thank you. You got your candy. You did that for the candy. All right. We're moving right along. So here is that formula all written down together. Okay. So just real quickly, we talked about all this already, but the reach level likely, just so you know, in that list for your students will not come until really very close to the end of the spring semester, because we really, like, this is the first year that your students have had like an authentic, I know we did our best last year compared to many schools, but this year we're really back at it, right? And this year is critical for us to just get a sense of like, were there patterns or changes? But that reach level likely is when I have a much better academic rigor, class choice, scores component, and then figuring out what are the magical things that each of your students are doing to give you that. So that doesn't come very early, even if you're excited about it coming early. It'll come with time. Anybody know how to say this word? Because I'm giving you a prize. Oh! Yes, but everybody goes squire. You're the first class that said score. Where? Oh no! Okay, so I stole the slide. This is why I should make up my own slides. Nobody gets a prize. So last year they didn't have that on there, and I've done it twice now, and nobody's even picked up on it. And the kids yesterday said squire. So, okay, they weren't reading. So they've already joined score. It's a Gaelic term, and we were asked a couple of years ago as part of the Ames high school group to, you don't want to hear all the stories, but I got rid of one system, we got this system, it's awesome, and the kids love it, and they're already using it, the juniors are already using it, but we invite you later so that they get into it and they can kind of populate some fun things, because when you get in there, you make a mess. And so we'll all have access to it, you'll have access to it as the parents, I have access to it as their advisor, and the student does. So you can add colleges to their list, but you can't take them off. So you can add a school, but you can't take them off. And I do know if you switch accounts and use theirs, just so you know. So you have a parent account, the student has an account. If you want grandma or aunt or uncle to have an account, that's fine. This year I think we have 2 grandmas who are in the system and they love it. They're actually in it more than the parents of the 2 seniors. So you just have to tell me that and we can figure that out. But this is our one-stop shopping. It's your commercial, because we're going to get into more of it later. But we are going to invite you to score probably right after Thanksgiving, so you don't spend your turkey week looking at all this stuff. But your students in it, and they're doing their job. And then it depends. If it happens tomorrow, it happens tomorrow. But you'll be invited to it, and you'll sign up. And if you don't sign up, we'll just keep reminding you to sign up. If one of you, if you're in paired whatever situations and only one of you wants to do it, you have to tell us that, because otherwise we keep bugging you to be like, why didn't your other person not join? But it's amazing. It's where we send everything to the colleges from our end of things. It's where that list will be calculated and populated. And every single thing that we do about the college process is in there. So when you ask a question, I'll be like, hey, go into SCORE, and it's in this little place. It's wonderful. It's lovely. It's magic. Oh, and we did that. There are my P's. Okay. This is we're good, I think. Wow, I'm amazed. The meetings are coming up, so if you don't know about these, because if you have not been here with a child, an older child, the meetings will start, and this is the first meeting that I have with you and your child, and anybody else in your family that wants to come. We do oftentimes have grandparents, frankly. I should keep saying that. Don't invite all the grandparents. It's fine if you do, but I'm just making the exercise of whoever's important in this process, not younger siblings, not older siblings. But this is our time to get together and go through all that long laundry line of things that we were just looking at. And there's some homework, unfortunately, that you have to do before you actually come to that meeting, so that I have data and numbers and things to think about and reflect on when I sit down and ask you questions, right? So I'm going to send you an email pretty soon. Your child's actually getting it tomorrow. And they'll start their homework. Actually, they've already started it. Andrew was the first, I think, to start Use Science. I know, surprise, surprise. There actually were 3 or 4, I think, who started it. And actually, yeah, I'm trying to think of who today. Is Ava's parents here? Are Ava's parents here? Yeah, so Ava started it too. And this is an awesome aptitude assessment. A lot of parents actually ask to take it. We only have one per student, but I can send it to you. Like a lot of people use it in companies. In fact, does anybody use it at their company? It's an aptitude assessment, kind of fits like for teamwork and all that stuff, but it also helps our students figure out what they're good at doing, what they might be better at doing as they evolve as an adult, and even kind of the career matches or professional fields that they might want to consider. We did a lot of this in their 9th grade class, but this is kind of the next version of that. And they'll do that before we meet so that we have some data to look at. And you'll get the report. It's like 35 pages long, and you probably won't read it. Some of you will. But your student loves it because it gives them a lot of sense of like, oh yeah, so that's why I really like Miss Bowman's class, right? Or, oh, that's really why I love Miss Scarlatta's class, or Miss Capsus's class. So it kind of fits together like what they're doing already at school. So they will start right soon after Thanksgiving, after those various components are ready to go. And they actually run through February. So my real point in telling you this is when we are starting now in November, some students and some families are ready to go and they're ready to meet. And some say, whoa, that's way too fast. I need a little bit more time. We're not quite ready. Maybe your child has something else going on. So you will decide when you want to meet. And if you don't tell me you want to meet, I'll come find you at some point. But we will aim to get those first family meetings in between the end of November, first part of December, all the way through the early part of February. And then I flip and just have the student meetings February and March. And they come back and just meet with me on their own. But you do get notes, so you'll know when we meet what we're talking about. And that helps you just kind of stay in the queue and in the loop, even if they're not communicating with you. So we'll have like one master note that goes on and on and on. Everybody good on that front? Yes.
You want us to have that sort of homework done before we meet with you, is that?
Yeah, so the email you'll get from me will say, here are the like 4 things that have to happen before we meet. I know it sounds very complicated. It's not that hard. Your piece is easy. You have a 10-minute maybe or so parent input. I have so many parents who tell me in that meeting, oh, we actually, like, I sat down with my spouse and we had a conversation about this that we haven't really had yet, because I asked some questions that you may not be thinking about yet. And then the student has a similar set of questions, and then they have science. Yeah, go ahead.
So you are assigning this to the kids kind of like homework, so they're.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
but I don't use that word.
Yeah, but it's.
I tell them their opportunity to come and talk to me about this process happens after they get those couple things done. Yeah, because otherwise you come and I have nothing to look at, right? I will also have their first quarter grades and, like I said, their scores. So that will be all up together. Okay, I know we're getting tired. This is a little quick commercial. The second meeting, if your child is not artistic, don't worry, because my tree, I didn't show you my tree, but it does not look anything like this. The second meeting, which is with just me, there are a lot of students who are not as chatty as I am, and I'm sure some of you have those children. And so I try to find ways to have students talk to me if they don't want to just sit down in my office and be like, hey, Laura, here's all the cool stuff I do. And hey, I'm so proud of all these amazing things that I've done in my life. This allows our students to think and reflect and write before they come and talk to me. They do not have to be artistic. I just happen to give you a beautiful one. But you can pretty quickly, as I've been rambling, see that Alex is super into what? Marine. Yes, so marine, right? Water, creatures. She's at University of Oregon doing marine biology. So a lot of times that tree is defined by the things that either your student has already been interested in and doing, or where they're headed when they leave. So again, back to the cheesy lifesavers, their roots are like, who have I been so far? Who are the people that have helped me get here? Mentors, experiences, places I've been, things I've done. You're gonna hear more about this later. Their trunk is like, what's most important to them? And then the leaves are like, where am I headed when I get out of here, right? So they're not doing that for homework for the first meeting. That's the second meeting. And we're not going to go through this tonight because this is your commercial for the next time too. I just want you to come back. All of this word verbiage stuff without a picture, which I should never do on a slide, is in the document that I've sent to you a couple of times. It's that junior resource doc. It's in SCORE, so your students actually have it in my drive, and it's been emailed to you as a Google Doc. So you'll have it in SCORE always. I always update it, so don't print it. It's 18 pages long. And we're a green school. But it is a really great document for you to kind of understand the philosophy. You actually already know all of this because it's in the upper school student guide, which I'm sure you all read every year, page upon page. But this is just so you understand the colleges know this. This is in our school profile, and we will talk about this, but it's set in stone. So Good to know, and we'll come back to that later because I want you to come back and visit me again. We'll talk about that at the next meeting. And then we will, I know, how many of you have gone on tours with your this child, not older kids, but this child? Okay, so some of you have. I also recommend if you are going to visit people over the holidays, or you just are looking for a girls' weekend, or whatever it might be, go visit a college if you're in a town, right? If you're going somewhere where there's a college, just walk by it. Grab a cup of coffee, check out the people. Maybe your kid doesn't want to be with you, then you go off and do your own thing. But it's really great right now as a junior to just get a sense of what resonates with you, right? When I was driving up to Bucknell last week, I forgot that Susquehanna University was right on my way, and I pulled off and went to the admissions office, and I came out with stuff because they love it when counselors stop. And I walked around and I just talked to like 4 or 5 students. I was there for a half an hour, and I learned so much about that school that I'd forgotten, right? Because I'd been there years ago. There's no harm in just walking into a school. You can walk in the admissions office, pick up something if you want, or just wander around and see what it's all about, right? And you'll get a vibe. You will get a vibe, but you don't need to share that vibe. Your child will get a vibe, and then you can kind of say, okay, should we look at more places like this? And then then they come back to me and say, hey, I like that place. What else is like that, right? And that's fun for me because then we get to build that list kind of based on that. But we'll talk about campus tours at our January meeting. And we talked about this a little bit. But the tours will be kind of a big piece of the puzzle for your students because nobody in the last 2 years has really been touring colleges. And they still went to college and they still found a great college. And all of those amazing things that happened to all of us in COVID that became great ways to see a college campus virtually are still there. So take advantage of them as a good starting point to just check out a school virtually. A couple-minute video. Students can follow them on Instagram. You guys probably don't have that. Don't follow them on Facebook. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. College kids use Facebook for finding roommates, which I think is so interesting. So we are old, but they are using it. We're going to get into some of this kind of stuff as we go. They're just kind of my little like, hey, this is an awesome video, and I send you the link to the slides. I know you want to watch this if we had more time. It's like 2 minutes long. I actually used it in their class in 9th grade, but it's all about like who are you and how can you be like a ballerina, engineer, architect, hiker is basically what it's saying. Like you can be all of these things when you go to college, right? We talked about all this tonight with Phil. So if you missed that meeting, don't worry about that because I have his slides. So if you came in late, I saw you. If you came in for the second meeting only, I'll send you his slides. We recorded it too, so you could always go back and listen to his summary, which is really, really helpful, I think, for all of us to help our students figure out, what they're going to do. You're not going to be on the GroupMe, but I just want you to know the students and I, so each year, and it's super fun because like the class of 21 is still texting me on the GroupMe. Anybody use GroupMe in their life? Oh, good. You are hip. And you do too? There are 3 of us. Only 3 of us use GroupMe. My daughter uses GroupMe for everything that she does. And I think it was actually your kid again. Yes. Good grief, the Gallant children. Yes, introduced me to, I think, was it Gabby that introduced me to it? So Gabby introduced me to GroupMe. It's my lifesaver. It's my personal lifesaver. Your children don't read email. Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they don't read email. I send them emails I don't do it every day because then they never would read it. But GroupMe is a group text. The whole class will be on it with me. It's a closed group. They can't invite anybody else. When we all go visit colleges, we'll post pictures, not you, they will post pictures to the GroupMe. So if you can't get to a school, but you get to a school, and you get to a school, but you can't get to a school, we all get to see the pictures of what they're going to visit. And it's super great for kind of the equity and access piece. It's also really great because we're only positive in it. So we're like, hey, this is a really cool place. Loved this, but we don't ditch a school at all. And like we say, we don't bitch or ditch, is what we say. And it's super fun because they love it. And then I send them all their reminders. So I say, hey, don't forget to stop in and pick up that mock ACT packet because they don't read my emails. And this is how I tell them about everything. And then when they graduate, they still, like just the other day, your son actually texted us all about talking about gazebos and obazags on Brandeis's campus. Yeah, I know. So if he doesn't text you, he's texting me. It's just like a fun commercial. So now you can all make your own GroupMe if you want to talk to each other. I have toyed with the idea of having a GroupMe with parents only and with me, but I can't talk to you 24 hours a day.
Does this blow up their phones? Is this on their phone?
It's an app. Yeah, they can turn it off. They can turn the notifications off. Like they text me at like 2 in the morning, so it's silent. But what's nice is then I have that message when I get up, right? And so they respond to it. And I cannot emphasize enough that we communicate about this process nonstop. So this is our saving grace, but you're not invited. We already did AP stuff because they already took care of that. This is like things we've already talked about. I'm just going to leave this up here. And here's my last little bit. We didn't get to this. It's the only thing we didn't do, but we'll save it for later. I feel pretty good. It's 7:59. I know. See? I thought that you'd like reading that. I'll just give you a second. I need a drink of water. Okay. They didn't laugh at it as much as you laughed at it, which is why it's funny because I usually have my groups mixed. So I got to satisfy both. But I have some good ones for them that I took out. A couple things. So all of the books that are sitting up here, you don't need to necessarily take a picture of them. They're actually already listed in that junior resource doc if you would like some, a little bit of reading about this process. But my number one go-to, that's still a book and it's not really an app because this guy is kind of old. But I love it because it's the real deal. I shouldn't say old. Does anybody know Fisk? Are you laughing because of that? I do. I know him. So when I was doing college admissions many years ago at Dickinson, this is when he started pulling this together. And he would go around to colleges and just talk to college kids and made it a book. And it's like the real deal of like, what does it feel like? What's this all about? Niche is kind of the version of it on the internet. But this is like an awesome book to get. And it's like $15 or something. But I love it. And the students like it. So it's great. I do like all of these books. If you have not read The Teenage Brain, my daughter hates that I read about her brain. She's like, why are you reading like self-help books about kids? I was like, because I work with them every day. This is awesome. They're all great, but they're in that list of the junior resource doc. But the one thing on your way out, and I should probably have somebody put them out there. Where's Trish? Oh, you're in the middle. Oh, Alice is right here. Can you do me a favor when I'm done? Would you put those out on that table? So that yellow packet I do not print things ever, but I do on this first night just give you a couple little commercial things that are in that packet. Everything that's in there is also on that junior resource doc, which you have on a Google Doc. Now you're all like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I can resend it to you. It was in the the last email I sent, not tonight's. But please use that as a resource. I am here as your resource. I hope that this was a good start to giving you a sense of what's to come. I really hope that you leave feeling like you're nerve-sighted and not as much freak-sighted. And I don't know who was over here saying they felt lost. Hopefully you don't feel lost now. But if you do, we can certainly have conversations about how to not make you feel lost. I really am excited about working with your class, with your group of students. I already have had super great conversations with some of them. Some of them I've known such a long time, and some I'm just getting to know. But it's been great so far, and we have a long, long journey ahead. So we'll be patient with each other. We'll take care of each other. We'll mostly take care of your students. Thank you for coming. And if you have any questions, I'll be here for just a few minutes, but I have to get to the Naval Academy. It's time for swimming to be over. Bye-bye.